Save the Semantics, episode 48. It is November 18th, 2018. My name is Myra. This is the podcast where I just ramble on about things that's currently going on in my life or just things that I just want to talk about at the moment. It's been pretty chaotic this week, this past week and a half. It's been pretty chaotic, just fires going all around. We definitely need some rain, that's for sure. Hopefully we get some rain in the upcoming week. Things just kind of need to just calm down just a little bit, just for my own sake, just for everybody, not to be selfish by any means. Um, kind of, yeah, other than, outside of just the natural disasters that are going on, just a pretty hectic week overall. Just been kind of kept busy, which has been good. I generally like to be kept busy in order to be overall just productive. Um, and I've noticed that, like, I think when I'm doing things more, not sporadically, but just keeping myself busy throughout, periods of time, generally leads to better time management, I feel. Because I think I've noticed where whenever I have gaps of time in just like hours of where I don't really do anything, I notice that I just tend to not use those hours effectively or efficiently, and I just things that I want to get done just don't get done. So if I already have like a scheduled, if I have like a scheduled time with either, work, classes, and whatever else I got going on, then I can like use the time that I have left to, complete things that I want to complete, whether it's assignments, whether it's being able to do things that, that I can just enjoy outside of work and school. Yeah, I think it's like a healthy kind of mix of just being able to do things that I need to do and then things that I want to do. That's just something that I've noticed. And I don't, it's hard to it's hard to be able to like kind of keep track of all of these things sometimes, but I feel that if I'm able to sort of concentrate on one thing and then, okay, now that I'm done with that thing, then I move on to the next, whatever project that I got going on, I think it just helps me be more, just effective in general and just trying to keep up like a daily agenda of things that are going on. A lot of new music dropped last Friday, I believe. New Big Crit came out. If you may not know, I'm a pretty big fan of Crit. I've been listening to him since middle school, early middle school. He just came out with like a small EP, 3 songs, solid project. Some new albums have been released. I'm still kind of going through the Anderson .Paak album. It's been pretty solid so far, though I think a lot of people have mentioned that either the third or second or third song, the song Head Low, there's like a skit at the end where he's getting head from a chick, and it's like kind of uncomfortable, I feel. Whenever there's like a sex related skit on albums, it's always just, it just feels, it's uncomfortable for one because it's only auditory. You can just hear like the moaning and shit, and it takes you kind of out of the music. I know it's like a skit, but it sort of it instead of like you being engaged with the music, you're like you're sort of taken aback, and you want to just you don't want to really listen to the music anymore because you're not, you're kind of forced to listen to this like a skit where you hear some woman moaning. I know like Dr. Dre kind of has this trope in his albums where he's had like sex noises, both like in The Chronic and 2001. I think it can work to some degree. I just don't really see the reason behind it. I think you can just have a sex song with just the song itself and not the skit. And I don't know. I'm not like, I think some skits do definitely help, I guess, elevate the album. Um, if the album has like a specific theme, then the skits can definitely help, elevate the topic, or just kind of extend the story, whatever story that's being brought up within the album's like storyline. But I think a lot of skits are kind of misused. I definitely enjoy like the comedic little, just the comedic, what's the word? Just taking like a comedic departure from the album, if it's like talking about like some serious topics and then you kind of needed to break it up a bit with a little bit, then I can definitely understand that. But I think especially a lot of rap albums I've noticed kind of use skits, um, kind of, I don't know if inappropriate is the right word, but they just kind of use it. Um, it's just not effective at all because it's just a skit and there's nothing of substance to it, and they just have it thrown in there because I don't know, it adds. They artists think it adds some kind of like comedic value, which sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I sometimes I feel like the majority of skits, for those kinds of albums, I feel like are kind of misused. The biggest like offender of this is probably Logic. I like Logic's music. Of course, I definitely have some criticisms of his newer albums, but I'd say for overall, he's pretty solid as a lyricist. I just wish he brings a little more to the table, considering how much experience he's had in the music industry. Um, but outside of that, I think one of my other criticisms is the skits that he has on his albums are just kind of it's just unnecessary, and they're way too long for the most part too. Like 2 minutes for a skit is fucking ridiculous. At least have it down to like a maximum of like 30 seconds. 2 minutes is so just ridiculously long, and I just don't really understand the point. You could just listen to like I don't know, like an audio track of just someone talking. It's like a fucking podcast or something. I don't really understand the appeal of having those skits too. And nobody listens to like if you go through repeat listens of an album, you don't listen to the skits. You never listen to the skits. And I could say that the same for most other artists as well. Once you go through the album first time, I just skits don't really like add anything to it. Interludes, skits, whatever. They just don't really add any replayability. And sometimes that's not the point that the artists want to make. That's not the reason they have, the skit or the interlude on the album. But I just feel like having those can be kind of detrimental. If you're kind of going through like repeat listens of an album, you just kind of skip through it, um, and maybe it kind of takes away from like the overall flow of the album. I'm not really sure. I'm just saying like I feel that little interludes, they can't be bad by any means, but the majority of the time when I listen to an album, it just kind of takes away my kind of overall enjoyment of it. I think just a little bit, just like by like a minute fraction of whatever enjoyment I had with the album. But yeah, that's just kind of what I had to say about it. In terms of other music, I've just kind of been listening to that. I've been kind of trying to get back into like rock music. I haven't listened to a lot of modern rock music. It just hasn't been my go-to genre. The last time that I've been like most engaged with like kind of modern or even like classical rock is just like the old rock, Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Black Sabbath, that kind of thing. But I don't really know that much about modern rock. So I've been going through some threads on Reddit and seeing what kind of rock music there is to listen to, just trying some newer stuff out. And I came up on this one rock group called Earth, and they kind of do like sort of a droney ambient rock music, and it's great to have as like background music for sure. It helped me like just I listened to a couple of albums of theirs. I forgot the names of the titles because they sound very obscure, but I listened to a couple of those and while studying, doing assignments, and it helps. It definitely helps as like just having it as like a background noise, keeping you concentrated on studying and stuff. I've definitely noticed that when I listen to music with heavy lyricism, I kind of it's hard for me to concentrate on the work, and I'm sort of like I either become absorbed in like the music that I'm listening to, and I get distracted, or I just don't really do anything at all, and I get distracted. I do some other work outside of what I need to do. So I think having instrumental based music, just pure instrumentals and no uh, vocals kind of helps me concentrate on what I want to do. Yeah, but aside from that, it's definitely not for everyone. I think you like like most things for me, I feel like I'd have to be in a certain mood to listen to that kind of music. And the thing about whenever I try out new music, I I go through these kind of like spurts of moments where I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna try this out, I'm gonna try this out, I'm gonna try this out, and then I kind of just go back to listening to what I already like. And yeah, I think right now is like a moment where I'm just kind of trying out listening to new music and stuff like that. But it's only periodic, and I don't constantly listen to new music because I think a lot of it I don't really retain. I don't like I sometimes I just forget the name of the artist that I listened to previously and what kind of music it was, and sometimes it's just forgetful. I think when I think in order to be able to explore new music, I think I have to sort of keep my expectations not too high. I think whenever I try to listen to new music, I always have this like expectation, like, ooh, this is gonna make me feel something like different. Because I've had that experience before where I've listened to new music and I'm like kind of blown away by like how like different it is, and then I expect everything else to sound exactly like that, and I just don't get that kind of the same reaction always. So I think in order to get accustomed to new music, I would have to just get more. I just have to set my expectations not as high. I definitely say, and yeah, another thing is like when it comes to listening to different genres, because if you can tell based on like how this podcast is, how I am as like a personality, I definitely like am more. I'm definitely more like hip hop and rap music is definitely like a lot more appealing to me because I've been listening to it for quite some time. So it's like sort of difficult to like branch out and try new music. I mean, I do listen to a lot of different genres for sure, but it's only like I don't. It's not like I don't have like a catalog of artists. I don't remember the names of all these artists. I don't have that kind of memory for one, and really, I don't really have the want to try to have this backlog of information. And I do use Apple Music, which is nice, and I'm able to listen to a lot of artists. I can save like a song or two, and then I can refer back to them. But it's whenever, say like I'm just driving to get somewhere. I don't really listen, mainly because I'm also cheap too. I don't use data to whenever I listen to music. I just kind of resort to using the music that I've already downloaded. But I always kind of I just sort of listen to the same shit that I usually listen to. And I think I don't know. That's something that right now right now my speakers in my car are broken. So that does it kind of disables me from being able to listen to the radio, and I haven't listened to like any radio for like the last like 3-4 months, and I'm too like like once again I'm like just kind of cheap, and I don't really want to spend the money on getting my speakers fixed because it is expensive getting them fixed, and I have an old ass car. But I do kind of miss having like a radio. The thing is, like, listening to a lot of radio stations, they do definitely play like a lot of the same songs over and over, especially like the pop radio station. I don't listen to the pop radio station just because it's just not my thing. Even though I do listen to some like of the artists that are currently popular at the moment. And I could say the same about like the classic rock station. I definitely I definitely like listening to that station, but they do play a lot of the same shit, you know, and the only exception is I don't want to like. No, I'll give them a shout out. My own college radio station, KZSC. We definitely play a lot of diverse music and stuff. So that's probably the exception in terms of like avoiding repetition, listening to music and stuff like that. So, but I kind of like miss that. It's hard. It's kind of hard for me to like listen to new music when I already have all of them just stored on my phone, like the music that I listen to stored on my phone. And I think I don't know, maybe sometimes just the listening experience while I'm driving around can kind of get stale because I do listen to my own the same shit that I already have and I've listened to over and over again. So I'm trying to think like what are some ways that I can try to like enhance that listening experience. A lot of the yeah, because a lot of the times when I do listen to music, it is in my car. And if I'm just listening to the same shit again, like I feel like that would just kind of take away my like kind of relationship that I had with like a specific song, a specific album because I've listened to it so much. And like now, what do I listen to? And also another thing, this is such a like a stupid bitchy thing to complain about, but like my when I'm using Apple Music, I can only have so much capacity for new music, and sometimes I have to delete songs in order to make up room and capacity to add more music. Because of limited gigabytes and usage. So I'm kind of limited in that regard too. So you know, for all that rambling, I think I'm just trying to find new ways to like try to listen to music and stuff like that. Because previously, like before before when I initially started driving, I didn't listen to like any music at all, mainly because I don't know. I thought, as like a beginner driver, I thought that maybe it would be distracting and I would be too engaged with the song or something and I would drive unsafe. I don't know. But I just didn't listen to any I didn't listen to the radio. I didn't listen to my own music when I was driving around. And I've only recently started to do that. So maybe I don't know. Maybe the car isn't like the best place to engage with music. So maybe I just have to find out other ways to just listen to music. I guess. I mean, I do that when I'm studying and stuff like that. And sometimes in my own free time, I sort of check out new music. I definitely used to do it a lot more where I tried to explore new music. Freshman year, definitely when I started off getting into radio and stuff like that, I wanted to be more knowledgeable about just music genres because I felt like I wasn't very well acquainted, and I still feel that way too. I still feel like I'm definitely lacking in terms of what kind of music there is out there. For like every genre, I know maybe at least one artist, but I kind of want to maybe go more in depth with what kind of music there is out there for sure. And I'm not entirely sure what kind of venues I could take, but yeah, I'll definitely see about that. One of the things that going off of since I've just kind of been talking about music, but going off of that, I think one of the things that I definitely want to do is maybe go to like a different kind of music concert, because the only types of concerts that I've been to are primarily hip hop concerts, which has been great. All of them have been pretty positive experiences, but I think maybe if I try to go to another type of concert, whether it's like a rock concert, jazz concert. Oh, I definitely want to go to like jazz concerts. Though I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, that's just something that I kind of want to see, because I really like jazz for sure, but I'm just wondering like what kind of setting I'd want to listen to it. Would it be like having like a drink or something, having dinner maybe, but I think maybe going to, just sort of like a different live experience would sort of open me up to like, okay, maybe this is something that I'm more inclined to go to. Maybe this is a new venue that I'd be willing to approach, and maybe I experience something else that I enjoy. Because I do like going to concerts, but I think at the moment, I've kind of I don't want to say burned out by any sense, because I really haven't gone to that many concerts, but I think going to hip hop concert after hip hop concert, it might make the experience, like the following experience, more stale and less enjoyable in a sense, because you sort of expect the lot of the same tropes that you get out of most concerts, most hip hop concerts. If it's like a hyphy artist, you're gonna get the crowd going, and then chorus hits, people go crazy, they calm down, you know, and then you kind of rinse and repeat, sort of. It's fun, but I don't know how many times I can see that and be like, okay, oh shit, he's gonna go, and then the crowd goes crazy, and then you jump up and down, and then maybe you fall on your ass or something. Um, so yeah, I think that's definitely something that I would consider doing. Um, yeah, just a different type of concert for sure, and seeing what kind of experience that is, comparing and contrasting, and just having more understanding of what kind of music there is to experience, in a sense. That was just kind of like a rambly 2 minutes of me saying that I should go to more different types of concerts. But that's probably going to do it for today. Solid little bit on music, my very limited experience on music. But hopefully you guys have a lovely rest of your week, day, month, or whenever I post next. And I will see you next time. This has been Save the Semantics, signing off.